Good morning.
Good
Walking
morning.
in Friday, November 14th. So this past week, good week. We're added 7 to our count, 24, 15, and 17. So nice job. Pat ourselves on the back, but job's not done. Week's not over. Let's focus in today and let's do what the safety topic of the week is we're gonna do and focus in and do a really productive JHA and hopefully start a really good trend throughout the year and every day having really good JHAs. I believe that this is the fundamental biggest value that we can do safety wise each day with our crew is have a nice briefing in the morning when we're drinking our coffees or our beverage of choice that's non-alcoholic, to get around and to talk about what we're going to try to accomplish today, how are we going to do it, and what hazards that we might be exposed to. So again, the objective to the JHA, it's not just to check the box to please the safety department. It's to maintain communication between all workers, to stop, think, observe to all of the hazards that we might encounter, put the daily plan in writing for workers and visitors and any other guests that are on site to understand the overall kind of agenda and hazards on the project, to draw attention to less obvious hazards or ones that might be not as frequent. Say might be a delivery or a one-off task that we might be gearing up for, to kind of highlight those things that we may not be thinking about 24/7. And also to establish the PPE for the day. Hopefully everybody knows now to be a construction worker, you need your hard hat, your high vis, your boots, your pants. And then there could be additional levels of PPE, and that's what we want to kind of highlight. We'll talk about that here in a minute, of safety glasses while cutting, hearing protection while using powered equipment, things like that we want to get to that next level of detail and communication on the projects. We want to be engaging, having engaging conversations about the planned work and potential hazards. It's also a good time to ask questions. So if you're a young laborer or if you're a little bit uncertain about something, this is a great opportunity to ask questions so you have a full understanding of what people are requiring you to do this day. So stop, think, and observe. We want, the foreman establishes the daily plan for the day. He's really got it in his mind what they want to do. So again, for all the foremen out there, try to take that 360 view of the site, aerial and above ground, look for any potential hazards that we may encounter, discuss those with the crew, and then vice versa, your equipment operators, you're pulling the levers, so you need to know exactly what you're going to encounter if it's overhead or underground. So really highlight and talk about those potential energies or those potential hazards that you guys might encounter. Same thing with the crane operators. And then any other kind of tasks or assignments, if it's on the concrete side of things, how's the excavations looking before we enter, and things like that. So visualize, try to forecast any obvious or potential hazards. Really get that mind engaged and just try to get away from the daily repetition that we get into, because when we get in that daily repetition, sometimes we leave our guard down. And I think that's kind of why we're having some of the injuries that we're having or accidents that we're having, is we're not really engaging our brains and thinking forward about potential and staying alert and staying vigilant and disciplined. And that's one word that Ben's been saying quite a bit in some of these roundtables, is let's be disciplined. And I think that needs to be with engaging our mind in the work to the best of our abilities. Daily plan. The plan should include all tasks to be performed throughout the day. If possible, lay out all personnel who will be engaged in the task on the job, when and they'll occur. So if you can, who's operating what piece of equipment, it helps Tom and myself, especially when we're on a project or just kind of double checking compliance with the JHA, just to see, the operation, how it's working. The more detail, the better it is. Keep it up to date with changing conditions if you can, especially this time of year. It's really hard. Slip, trips, and falls are a big priority to making sure we're eliminating those as much as we can. Establish those PPE requirements and draw attention to less obvious hazards. So think through each hazard and then how to implement them. Don't just check the box while you're checking the box. The idea for the JHA is to help streamline it, but also we want that verbal communication on the site. We built this JHA form to help the foreman that quickly identify like what we think is the most likely a hazard on your project, and then the next step is those are our best practices. Those are how we prevent accidents and injuries on site. So once you check it, communicate that. Communicate that hazard and communicate that kind of best practice with everybody on site, saying, hey, we got slip, trips, and falls, or hey, we're got excavation, we're sloping today, or we're using a trench box today. What trench box we're using, what kind of rigging we're using to lift the box. You know, have those conversations, try to get into those details. I know it can get monotonous day in and day out, but again, those hazards are going to exist. And if we aren't diligent and we are controlling the job and the job's not controlling us, we can go incident free each day, day in and day out. So have that engagement meeting, try to be engaged. Without discussing the JHA, the process is not effective at all. So let's not just get out of our trucks and go to work and one guy sitting in the truck kind of filling this out and pleasing the safety department. Like, let's get engaged. Let's have that kind of team approach to tackle our projects. All team members should have a voice, concern, or contributions to the meeting. And if everybody's good, I think it's a good idea to have that foreman say, hey, all good? Yeah, let's go. Let's get to work. So everybody kind of has that buy-in that we're going out and working together to have a good, productive, safe, productive day. Again, if conditions change, just have that verbal with everybody of what's going on, especially if the plan gets, you know, we get to a point where we have to stop work and focus somewhere else. Let's, again, when we move from one area to the site to the other area of the site, there might be different hazards. So let's stop and have a quick little verbal briefing and talk about what potential hazards might be over on a different area of the site. And then involve any newer workers in the delivery of the information as well. Sometimes when we do have new hires, we try to kind of slow it down for them again, and we try our best in orientation to kind of understand the process and how the communication works. But again, the more detail that you can give everybody, the more understanding that they'll have with what type of plan of the day is, how to work safe around those hazards using those best practices that we share in the JHA. So brief your drivers and visitors as well. It is important to remember that visitors and drivers may not be aware of the current activities, so be sure to brief them when they arrive, convey any hazards that they may present to themselves or to the drivers, and then create a plan for spotting responsibilities for the drivers as well. We want to loop in all of our CDL professional drivers to our operations as much as we can. Good partnership across company lines is paramount for the safety of everybody in the company. So let's treat everybody the same. That's really all I have. I just wanted to highlight that. We kind of do this annual training. We've been seeing pretty good participation with our JHAs, and Tom and I are definitely trying to get to the jobs that we see no JHA participation in. So let's highlight it. Let's focus in. We believe, Tom and I believe, that this is a very important kind of safety sensitive topic and action that we need to be doing day in and day out to be incident and injury free each and every day. So let's take it serious and let's be engaged, let's be disciplined, and let's have good JHAs moving forward. Anything to add, Ben?
Yeah, a couple things. We didn't do JHAs when I first came here, and when I was getting trained, one of the foremen that used to work here, you guys have probably seen him around, Don Amacia. He's retired. He just came in a couple weeks ago. And he told me one time, you need to be a sidewalk superintendent to yourself, Mr. Dow. And I was like, what? He said, when you go to your job, you need to stand back and look around and observe and see what it looks like. And you're going to know right away what could happen and what risk you're at. So get out of the work for a minute and look around and be a sidewalk superintendent to yourself. I always remembered that. And that was a disciplinary thing that some of the guys did to protect themselves and to protect the company before we had the formal tailboards. They had this self-discipline that you were just talking about, Matt. And they would stand back and kind of assess the situation. And Mike Colby, another foreman superintendent that was here, told me that I needed to use my powers of premonition. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? He says, you know what could happen? You need to look around and you look at that trench could cave in. Once you think it could cave in, you better be doing something about it. So those two things came to mind when you started talking about state of mind and things like that, because I was thinking, wow, we've come a long way to have all these tailboards and everything. But when I think back in the old days, they had to rely on their own self-discipline in order to keep the company safe. They didn't have all these extra nice things that we have now to try to train ourselves to be like what they used to be naturally. So I don't know if that helps and adds to your thing, but observe, predict, and obsess and assess is something we came up with way back right before Stu King came. It was OPA, and Mike Colby used to tell me, Dow, you're not observe, predict, and assess. You're observe, predict, and obsess. So get more work done and quit obsessing about everything. So that's just a little history that I have from some of the old school guys that were good at this stuff. Okay. Thank you, Matt.
If I kick in real quick as well,
go for it.
It'd be excellent if people would do these once they get out of the truck, walk around the site, because conditions may have changed overnight. There's certain times, if you don't have cell service, for example, where you might have to do your JHA in advance before getting to the job site. But just make sure that if conditions have changed, that you're working into your briefing at the very least.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else? Okay. This week was Veterans Day. Just wanted to make sure I didn't put it in our email last week, and I intended to. So thanks to all you veterans out there. I do have a couple of things from the archives. Any of you veterans that would like a Vermont National Guard Fallen Heroes Memorial Challenge coin, if you're a veteran, you know what it is. Tom, you know what these are. I've got 2 of them. They're in the archives here when we did work on that, and they're pretty cool. I got 2 of them. So the first 2 people that would like to either get these for themselves as a veteran or give them to a veteran, see me today or in the next couple days, and if I still have them, I'll give them to you. Those are a little piece of history. So thank you, veterans. And thank you, Tom, and all the other ones. Tom Pigeon, I see you on there right now, and thank you for your service as well. All right. Can you guys see my screen? You see my screen shared?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I had the right one. Okay. So the focus of the week this week was job site hazard assessment. Our code of conduct item, which you've already read, I'm sure, work in an environmentally conscientious manner. So I always think of it as being responsible, careful, and diligent, and doing our best to take care of our environment. We have an ownership item of the week. It was written by Brendan Stringer, who was helping me out yesterday to put something together for this. I asked him if he wanted to read it, but he thought I would do a better job. So this is the ownership item of the week, and it's about doing our best. A lot of questions here that you got to answer. What does it mean to do your best in the construction industry? Is it providing quality work on schedule, work within budget, an efficient and transparent construction admin process, or also providing client relations? How can we as individuals do our best? Is it enough to just show up with attitude, willingness to work, and a desire to learn? And he has a quote here from paraphrasing Seth Wright from the Designated Survivor. I think it was a show. I think it was also a book. None of us is perfect, but we do our best because this company, this team is worthy of our best. We trust our instincts as we make decisions. that our instincts have not led us astray, and that our best has been good enough. So as employee owners, we do owe it to ourselves and each other to always strive to do our best. Thank you, Brennan. That was very thoughtful and wise. So I appreciate that. So do your best. We have the equipment focus of the week. Contributor, Mr. Ben McKinney, contributed this, as he has many more lined up for the coming weeks. It's about washing equipment. Salt season has begun. Please be diligent in washing your equipment, your trailers, and all things that are transported before parking them. Starting now, spraying off our equipment, especially underneath it, is simple but a crucial action in preserving these assets. Washing the trucks periodically throughout the winter is also smart. If a truck has been recently undercoated, focus on the body and the wheels, but don't wash all of the oil and the coating off the frame, especially when you got that big pressure washer. So thank you for taking care of our stuff. And if you ever have any questions about washing, flushing, talk to any of the people, any of the staff in the maintenance and the shop departments, and they'll help you out with anything that you need. The salt and the brine that gets on this equipment is especially bad when it warms up a little bit. It goes into action, and when we drive something in the salt and we park it, we've had trucks literally just rot out in a couple of months when it warms up and they've been coated with all that stuff. So thank you, Mr. McKinney. I appreciate the contribution this morning on washing our stuff. I did put the supplemental pay rates in one more week, just in case people are wondering what they are, because I've been asked a couple of times this week. So out of town is per diem is now $60 a day. Out of town rate differential is $4 added to your base pay rate. The ERB, emergency response bonus, is now $100, and night work pays an additional, it gives you a $6 raise is what it does, working at night. So hopefully those are making everybody feel a little bit better about working in some of these conditions, but we wanted to make sure that we boosted those up this year, and those went into effect on the 2nd. You all should have seen, I won't read this whole thing, but it's got some information in here regarding the Employee Navigator, which is the new platform that we're going to use, or that we are using. It's live right now to do our open enrollment for all of our benefits. I did get the email myself yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I did it before today, so I could tell you that it was pretty easy. I went through, and most of it was already filled out, and it reflected all the things that I already have. And I was able to click through, and it only took me like 3 or 4 minutes to do. I followed the link on my email, and it comes from that address that you see in the third little paragraph here. No reply at employeenavigator.com. Sometimes it gets in your junk folder. But if you can find that email from employeenavigator.com and click on the link, you should be able to log in and take care of all your benefits selections for the ensuing year. And if you have questions, I've got Aaron Markle's phone number and email right down here on the bottom. And you also have a link in the email here for our benefit rate document, where you can actually just see what all our rates are before you log in. So, okay. Is Phil Forster, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for being on.
No problem.
Because I can read it, but it always is better when you guys present what you wrote. Do you want me to scroll, or do you want?
Yeah, just keep
Okay.
scrolling. I'll take it. You can just stop.
Okay. Project of the week.
Yep. Yeah. So project of the week was the Industrial Ave pedestrian bridge replacement, which many of you drove by or were inconvenienced by the traffic closure. The pedestrian bridge on Industrial Ave in Williston was originally installed in 1999. During a recent inspection, large areas of section loss were discovered along the bottom chords, and the pedestrian bridge was deemed unsafe for public use and closed immediately. The corrosion was primarily caused by salted brine spray from the adjacent highway bridge, and a good reminder that this time of year we need to wash our equipment and trailers regularly. Kind of had that in there before we added the announcement to the email, but that bridge was supposed to last a lot more than 25 years, and a lot of the trailers we're getting back, whether they be message boards, quarry trailers, all those, they kind of look similarly underneath. So we're losing a lot of trailers to salt and corrosion, and much like this bridge, they're expensive to replace. Beneath the pedestrian bridge was a separate structure installed in 1982 carrying an 18-inch ductile iron gravity sewer over the Allen Brook. The sewer line conveys an average of 650,000 gallons per day. In September 2024, the town of Williston reached out to ECI for an estimate to replace the pedestrian bridge. And since the sewer bridge had also seen significant corrosion, the town's goal was to eliminate it and support the pipe from the new pedestrian bridge. After being selected to perform this emergency work, ECI worked closely with the town to develop a practical and cost-effective solution. A little fun fact, ECI was involved in the design and construction of the original sewer bridge back in the 80s. So yeah, there you can see the two bridges right on top of each other.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the bridge was originally provided by designed by someone else, and then Contact purchased that company. So we partnered with Contact to design and deliver a constructible system that allowed the sewer to be seamlessly relocated from the old bridge to new utility hangers suspended beneath the replacement structure. This involved having some extra tabs fabricated on the bridge to which we could hook our 2-inch ratchet straps, so we could support that that sewer line in the interim. Because the ductile iron pipe was highly insulated, its condition was unknown. To mitigate potential risk, ECI rented a bypass pumping system from Mercino to have on standby in case of a structural failure or pull apart during the construction process. Preparation for the 2-week road shutdown, ECI removed the existing bridge decking and installed new suspended staging beneath the sewer bridge to support utility installation afterwards. So there's the bridge with all the decking removed. It was in poor condition, so we disposed of all that wood. If you scroll down, there's Dale and Isaac working hard with Isaac Swan up on top, actually, handing the decking panels down. I made a little ratchet strap slide to slide those panels to those two guys, and that was our staging, which we borrowed from DeRosso Minoco and their team of painters that we frequently hire. The road was closed on a Monday morning, and by the end of the day, Tuesday, both cranes, the 138 and the TCC 750, were mobilized, put together, and positioned. So the existing bridge, and then the existing bridge was flown out and cut up and removed. So there's the tandem pick. Both cranes had to be off the existing highway bridge. You can see the sewer line bypass on the road there, just underneath the guardrail. And Isaac Baker standing at attention, ready to get started. It was a tight little squeeze. It rubbed on the back wall a little bit on the way out. Obviously, things have shifted since the initial install, but here you can see the bridge heading up and out. And then in the next picture, you'll see the bridge sitting on Industrial Ave, and the sewer bridge still in place in its original condition or position. Then on Wednesday, the new bridge arrived in 2 sections, which were spliced together on Industrial Ave. So there's, with the chiropractor being closed, we brought the truck right in. That was one of the sections right there. And then we had previously received the other section, which we had placed on waste blocks. It comes prefabricated like this. It's a great width, just be able to truck it right over the road. You can see the crane in the background's got the second piece up in the air. And then if you keep scrolling, kind of see it all go together. Tight little site, utilities and trees on both sides, but just enough room to get everything around. And then once all the fit up was done and the alignment was good, it was all bolted together and torqued. After splicing and torquing, the new bridge was set into position on Thursday using a tandem pick similar to the removal of the old bridge. And that was Matt Protko and I, and the team guiding us down into position. We used the bridge as a template for the new anchor bolts. So we flew it in twice, we pulled it out, we drilled the anchor bolts, and then we put the bridge back down in. ECI used the remainder of the road closure to suspend the sewer pipe. We supported it from the new bridge with ratchet straps, removed the old utility bridge, and progressively installed new hangers and insulation. So this picture here shows the whole utility support bridge, half of it. We had cut it after the sewer was supported underneath. We cut half the utility bridge out and flew it right out of the way.
It's a long piece.
Yeah, the guys were able to get it all in one shot.
Yeah.
And there is the ductile iron sitting in the new hangars underneath the new bridge, just waiting for its insulation. We were lucky; it was in good condition. There wasn't any real corrosion. The insulation really did end up protecting it more than allowing it to sit in kind of that brine solution. So, kind of good example again of keeping things clean. The sidewalk on the south end of the bridge was also replaced, and the bridge was reopened to pedestrians just in time for Halloween. That was kind of our goal. So a fun little 2-week project, which the crew will return in one day for a final day to complete the pipe insulation and remove any remaining components of the old utility bridge. The new galvanized bridge is expected to be far more resilient to salt-induced corrosion and ensure safer and a longer lasting structure for years to come.
What a nice looking bridge.
Yeah, I think the wood with the galvanized steel, it's a nice little visual.
I think now that you put galvanized in, we won't have to replace it again.
Nope,
Well,
I don't think definitely not in 25 years.
No,
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why did the town put a 5-foot wide sidewalk up to that bridge?
That is a great question. We did just replace it in kind. I don't know why the sidewalk is so narrow and the bridge is so big. But maybe, yeah, no, I don't know, but maybe in the future we can convince them to put a slightly bigger one in.
Yeah. It's like anything. People sometimes don't stand back and think about stuff before they have us do them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have that wide bridge and then you got to just hit that 5-foot sidewalk to get on and off it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Well, there it is. So yeah, we'll be back one more day, and that was.
Thank you, Phil. That's a good looking bridge. Just want to let you know that the archive photos don't follow current safety standards. This is a project we did down in the early 90s at something called the Direction Finder site, which the technology went obsolete like a year after we put in this whole site of all these towers with equipment on them in order to direct the planes, and none of the planes even have that equipment anymore. So I remember when we put this in, it was odd because it was going to be twilighted a year after we put it in. It's a good job down in Washington called the DF site. And there's the foreman. We didn't have cranes that we were able to use anymore at that point. So we used excavators to set stuff. Hopefully that guy that's on that pole is not.
He's got 3 points of contact.
I almost think that he was riding it when it was being lowered onto the anchor bolt. So, and then I guess in the old days, we could sit on the top of the poles to look. Well, remind me later. So you can guess, maybe Phil, you can try to guess who that is, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm observing.
Yeah.
I'm observing the site to look for hazards and to see if I can figure out how to do a proper hazard assessment of the job site. Okay, I'll turn it back to Matt.
Yeah.
Full circle to you, Matt and Tom.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Lucky for you, Ben, that standard didn't exist with the telecommunication standard that we have to follow now. If you watch in a group setting, please send that over to Tom or myself so we can capture attendance. Let's have a great day. Let's have a safe day. Let's drive safely, please.
Yep.
Let's be
Good luck in the woods this weekend. And as a reminder to send in your buck pool money by midnight tonight.
I've got Joe Prouse's. He gave it to me. I'm holding it. I put it in an envelope so I don't lose it. I'm supposed to give it to Sarah, I believe, right? So,
So, you know, it's
everyone is a witness that I have it. So Joe doesn't get in trouble. Okay.
all right.
Thank you, guys. 7:00. We hit it on the button. Good timing. Have a good day.
You too.